Welcome back to Around the Clock. It's time for our Selectmen's update for the meeting that happened on Wednesday, September 6th. We started at 6:30, but it wasn't a usual start to our meeting. We were joined by many members of the Ashland Police Department as we held a commemoration and recognition of the 50th anniversary of the shooting death of Charles E. Carteret. Officer Carteret was an officer in the Ashland Police Department. He was the father of 4, and the family is still here in Ashland. He was murdered for a routine traffic stop that went bad. We also recognized Chief Gun Friday, who was Officer Carteret's partner back in 1967 on that night on September 11th. He then became our police chief for many years. The Board of Selectmen created a proclamation and gave that to Chief Gun Friday, and we thank him for coming and helping us commemorate the 50th anniversary of Officer Carteret's death.
Not wait 50 years for it. Charlie was a friend, a father of 4, a husband, and a police officer with a very dry sense of humor, and you had to know him to understand it. The midnight shift of September 11th, 1967 started out no different than many other shifts. We came in, exchanged information with the outgoing shift, jumped in the cruiser, 2 of us, and off we went, do our regular rounds. The town woke up that morning on September 11th to learn that Charlie had paid the ultimate price, which started as a routine motor vehicle check and ended up being a shootout at the OK Corral, known as the Workman's Circle. In the following days and weeks, the town came together and offered unimaginable support to the Carteret family. And we in the police department at the time were eternally thankful for that happening. In the following days and weeks, in the ensuing years, the police department started to change. Better equipment, more officers, and most importantly, training. Because I will sit here and tell you today that if I hadn't had the training that I did have at the academy, I wouldn't be standing here today. And I say to the police officers today, as you pass by, read the monument in front of the station and never forget.
Thank you, Chief.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you, staff. We also had Chief Davis, our current police chief, at the meeting, and he also made some statements about Chief Gun Friday as well as Officer Carteret. But he then also did some letters and recognition of some of our current officers. He recognized Officer Mike Dion with a letter of accommodation, and also Officers Jewett and Ramirez for work that they did for an incident here in Ashland back in August. There was also a life-saving award given to Officer Keefe and Officer Puzo for some of the work that they've done for some life-saving efforts. Chief Davis also gave us an update on the amount of Narcan being used here in Ashland and the number of lives that have been saved. A huge thank you and shout out to all the police officers that were in attendance at our meeting last night. It was great to see them support the commemoration of the 50th anniversary of Officer Carteret's death, and also supporting their fellow officers who were recognized last night as well. A big shout out and thank you to Carl Hackinson, the current chair of the Ashland Board of Selectmen, for bringing this all together and bringing it to the public. Having not been in Ashland quite as long, some of it was new information to me, so it was nice to hear that history and hear some of the memories of some of the other selectmen here in town who do remember those events. From there, we went to an appointment of Cindy Sincata, who's going to be our new treasurer collector. She comes to us from having worked in a couple of other towns, and so we look forward to welcoming her as our new treasurer collector moving forward. We also met and heard from Joe Richardson. He is the new facilities director. He reports to the school committee, but over the last number of years, we've been combining facilities work between the schools and the municipal buildings to come under one department. We then had a hearing with Green Indoor Golf for a modification of their hours. They look to extend their liquor license for a little bit longer to help and support events. If you're looking for a place to have some fun activity and do an event where you can do something active, contact Dr. Green's Indoor Golf right here in Ashland. From there, we had a discussion and we approved a one-day liquor license for an Oktoberfest fundraiser with the VFW and the Ashland Sporting Association. It will be happening on October 14th from 5 p.m. to 11. Steve Greenberg came before us. He had talked to us once before. He now laid out a plan as to where the tent was going to be and the music and some of the security. Again, it's a VFW fundraiser. It's an Oktoberfest happening on October 14th. The Road Dogs will be performing, so if they're one of your favorite bands, you definitely want to go check that out. From there, we had another one-day liquor license, this time for Wine Empire. This is also for an October event, sort of beer and food, and this one's happening on October 8th in the afternoon from 3 to 7. It's actually a Sunday, so if you're looking for something to do on Sunday, that's October 8th from 3 to 7 p.m. It's happening right in the parking lot of Wine Empire. If you're not sure where they are, they're right next door to Marathon Deli. Hopefully you know where they are. Our last appointment was for a Class 2 license for Warren Heaps, who owns PowerTune. PowerTune has been in business for a number of years. They're mechanics and they do a great job on your cars, and they're looking to be able to sell some used cars. So that Class 2 license was approved. So if you're looking for a new place to buy a used car, you can check out PowerTune. We also had a presentation by Mike Herbert, our town manager, on the Downtown Streetscape Traffic Parking Forum and how you can go find information on Urbanize. Urbanize is a planning platform website where you can look at things, you can give your feedback. You can go to urbanize.com and just search on Ashland, and you can give input on things you like, things you don't like, changes that you'd like to see for downtown Ashland. An upcoming event associated with that is on Monday, September 18th. There'll be a downtown discussion happening at the community center starting at 6:30. We also had a consent agenda with a number of items that we approved. We then went into some old and new business. We reviewed the commercial vehicle rules and regulations. This is a new bylaw that was passed at the Springtown meeting, and now we're looking at the regulations to support it. It talks about how many commercial vehicles can be in front of a residential home. So as we get those finalized, we'll let you know about that. We discussed the issues going on Columbus and Brook Street over by where the Connolly buses are parked. The ZBA did issue a special permit, but that has been appealed, so things are on hold. Now, just so that you realize, that does not mean that Connolly can't park there. The buses are there. They are using the space. Connolly has been looking to work with us and with the neighbors to make it as healthy and as work-friendly as possible for the neighborhood. We discussed and approved the IMA with Southborough so we can start moving forward on our connection for the MWA water connection. We reviewed and approved the response to an open meeting law violation. A citizen felt that one of our meetings was not properly handled, and we just responded to that. We have opened our BAA grants. If you're looking to apply for one of our grants, you can get the information online or through Susan Roby at the Selectmen's office, and those are due by October 4th, and we have going to give it to a subcommittee, and then we'll be approving and announcing those probably at our second meeting in October. We did have to extend our water restriction beyond October 31st. We had a stage 1 water restriction before Labor Day. We're now in a stage 2 water restriction. So please double check the website to find out what that means to you and to your ability to water, fill pools, and wash outside of your home. I know people are saying, how can we have a stage 2 or even a water restriction considering the amount of rain that we had? Unfortunately, August was very light for rain, so all the rain that we got, the reservoir did go down. I'm sure, though, with September and the amount of rain that we're about to get, we'll hopefully be able to lift that pretty soon. We had some selectmen appointments. We appointed Michelle Brooks to the Sustainability Committee. We appointed Joe Mignani and myself. We are back on the Liaison Committee. Liaison Committee is 2 members of the Board of Selectmen, 2 members from School Committee, 2 members from Finance Committee, Town Manager, Assistant Town Manager, Superintendent, and Assistant Superintendent. We try to get together once a month to talk about budgets and issues and how the groups can work together to better improve the town. We also appointed Dale Malabarba to our Stormwater Advisory Committee. Then we finished out with some town manager reports. The town has implemented a new public records software, so it is now easier for the public to request documents. And also, if you do a request and someone else has requested it, it will automatically let you know where you can find that documentation. It also allows us to track it so we can better follow the guidelines of the new law that went into place as of January 2017. The last thing we talked about was a public safety building update. This has been going on, a lot of discussion for many years. A location has been identified. We're in the process of doing some negotiations with the landowner, and we are hoping to bring something to town meeting to purchase the property and also put some engineering money together to do engineering work for a public safety building. And then either in the spring or next fall, we'll be coming forward to the town to do the construction of a public safety building. Something that if you've been in our fire departments and in our fire buildings and in our police department building, you know that both a new fire building and police building are sorely needed here in the town of Ashland. A huge shout out and thank you to our police and fire personnel, because they do a great job considering some of the surroundings that they have to work with. Well, that wraps it up for the Selectmen's update. The next meeting is going to be moved to Tuesday, September 19th, due to September 20th being the first night of Rosh Hashanah. So, that's it. We'll be back with more Around the Clock.